Mark Sundberg is the man I researched for my behavioralist biography project. Mark is still living and is still involved in the ABA community. He speaks at conferences throughout the United States. Mark has over 40 years' experience as a psychologist, and he received his doctorate in applied behavior analysis in 1980 from Western Michigan University. He studied under Dr. Jack Michael. Dr. Jack Michael worked with his students, and they studied Skinner's work on verbal behavior. Mark spent his career focusing on verbal behavior, writing and researching about language assessments and interventions for students with autism and intellectual disabilities. Mark has made many contributions to literature. He co-authored the ABLES, which is the Assessment of Basic Language and Learning Skills, and he authored the VB MAP, the Verbal Behavioral Milestone Assessment and Placement Program. He published over 50 professional papers. A few that I used to help with my research were recollections of Jack Michael and the application of Skinner's analysis of verbal behavior, verbal stimulus control into interverbal relation, and the benefits of Skinner's analysis of verbal behavior for children with autism. Dr. Mark Sundberg also wrote 5 chapter books, one of which was Teaching Language to Children with Autism and Other Disabilities. I also used this book in my research. This picture is Mark Sundberg with Jack Michael. It seems that Dr. Mark Sundberg was influenced by Dr. Jack Michael in his views on Skinner's verbal behavior. Dr. Mark Sundberg has had many accomplishments in his life. He founded the Journal of the Analysis of Verbal Behavior. He has served on the board of directors of the B.F. Skinner Foundation. He has been a 2-time president of the Northern California Association of Behavior Analysts. Mark has made an impact on the ABA community. Not only has he taught at conferences in universities and colleges, he has given conferences nationally and internationally on behavior analysis and verbal behavior. Through his efforts, verbal behavior was brought to a new level. Nearly everyone in the ABA field that uses verbal behavior techniques has heard of Dr. Mark Sundberg. I believe one of his biggest contributions would be the VB MAP. This is used by practitioners and teachers to gather data on baseline skills, implement interventions, track skill progress, and give a curriculum framework. I know many schools that have classes for students with autism use this to help their teachers develop a curriculum and know and make goals for their students. If I had the privilege to interview Dr. Mark Sundberg, I would ask him if he believes we still have more to learn from Skinner's work on verbal behavior. Have we learned everything that we need to know, or is there more that we can learn if we study his research? One of the articles I read while I was researching Dr. Mark Sundberg was an article about 30 points of motivation from Skinner. It's made me wonder why he chose those 30 points, so I would ask him that question, why he chose those 30 points, and is there more points of motivation that he could have chosen? Another question I would ask him was, as a practitioner or a teacher, is there a certain time to use the ABLES or the VB MAP? Is it best to use just one, or should both of these be used in conjunction with each other to get the best results? I would also like to know, with his knowledge of verbal behavior and behavioral analysis, does he foresee any advances in this in the future? What does he foresee happening? There's been changes for over the years, and what changes does he foresee happening in the years to come? Finally, without Skinner, Does he think we would have the knowledge of the verbal behavior that we have today? Many of our advances on verbal behavior came from Skinner's work. So if we had not had Skinner, would we know all that we know about verbal behavior? Thank you for listening to my presentation.